Hello there, Jeff here again, and today I wanted to take you on my journey through some cheap versions of picks. My picking journey began several years back, I can't even remember now, probably about 4 or 5, when I received this set from a buddy. Now, the picks in this set are just some wires, basically some rakes, but it got me started. I tried, I got frustrated, and I was happy with this pry bar that came with it, but it was enough to start me down a path. I was introduced to Bosnian Bill and Lockpicking Lawyer as people to watch, people to learn from. So, being unhappy with these picks, I decided, being the cheapskate that I am, to try making my own. And I have the tendency to try to make things cheap and to make them small. So I made this set. There was more to it before, but this is what remains. I had a hook along with this diamond and this little rake, but these were just windshield wiper inserts. Filed, ground into shape, with tensioners on the other end. These worked for me. I was able to use these on some basic locks. I could get them in there. Sometimes picking, sometimes raking, always just trying to learn. But eventually I realized that I was really limiting myself with the short size. I wanted to do something more. And I considered using more windshield wiper material to make picks with straight solid handles. But I saw Bosnian Bill's video on making the pick handles where you could change the tips, and I had some brass laying around. I said, I'm going to try that. And I made them double-ended because, again, I want to be conscious of my size. But I still use the windshield wiper material, the windshield wiper blade inserts. And quite frankly, especially when used for rakes, it's not the best. They break. This one I turned into kind of a probe or a knife tool, but they just weren't the best. I wasn't happy with them. I mean, they would still work. I can use them, especially with some of the simpler locks like a quick set. I could use them to get in there as long as I was careful to be aware of the limits of the material. I could make it work, even though it's not working on this lock right now. But I said there's got to be something better at a low price. And for me, the answer was knives. I was able to go to thrift stores, find things like steak knives, paring knives. The truth is, I specifically looked for ones that weren't too thick at all. And I started grinding them down, just like I did with the windshield wiper inserts. I ground them down into the shapes that I thought that I wanted. Now, I still had nothing to go on. I was looking at things online, trying to decide what might be the best. And quite frankly, this hook here now is my favorite hook. It is my go-to. There we have an open already. Now, DIY isn't always the end-all. I will say that I have spent a little bit of money, and I got the Sparrow's Spirit set. And I like the hooks. I like the rakes. I'm going to talk about my experience with tensioners on another day, but I really like these shapes. I'm not always a fan of these handles. My plan? is I want to replicate some of my favorite shapes here with some other knives that I have. That way I have the handle, I have the stability for picking, and I've been able to make it myself. Now, I still carry these. I use these for regular practice, but I'm also going to use them as templates for trying to make my own. This has been the picks that I have gone through. And truthfully, these guys over here, I keep them around because it's what I used to have. These, I still use, I still play with. Even once we upgrade, these $32, that was definitely probably the biggest thing I've ever spent money on for locksport. But there is something empowering about making your own tools, about knowing that I love this tool. If anything happens to it, if it breaks, I could get another one of these. I could make another one. So that has been my journey with lockpicks, keeping it cheap. And with that, I will talk to you later.